Hi, I'm Wayne Fraze, and I'm with the sales team here at Escape Trailer. And I have with me here Joel and Emma, some of our favorite and newest Escape 23 trailer members, owners. And they've graciously agreed to let me ask them a few questions about their experience with Escape. So I'll just get started. So the first thing that I want to ask or want to know about is your journey to Escape Trailer. What was it that kind of brought you in our direction? Was there a particular aspect of Escape? Was there a feature you liked? And how did we stack up to the competition, if you checked that out? Just give us a run through, if you would, of your journey with Escape.
I think I can handle this one.
Go ahead.
So we've actually had quite a few different RVs, motorhomes, trailers, truck campers, the wide gamut, and we've full-timed since for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a bit of experience, quite a few rigs, and we found a lot of what we like and what we don't like, what spaces works, what doesn't, especially for our dogs, and what materials work and what don't. And so, having had, the way that we live off-grid, materials like metal don't work quite as well in terms of keeping heat out and cold out as fiberglass would. And things like seams in the maintenance points that we like to avoid, having an all-in-one fiberglass shell works very, very well. And it was really a matter of finding the right layout. And there are competitors, but there's nothing that meets the layout, the quality, and the value. I think all in one. And that the Escape 23 was a newer layout. I think it's a newer floor plan, if I'm not mistaken, as of 2024. So the last time that we started shopping, this wasn't available, and we just really lucked out, and we saw it, pulled the trigger right away. We were a little bit of a leap of faith,
Right.
Yeah,
I can attest to that part of it because your journey began quite quickly.
Yeah.
From about a week's time from when you first reached out to where you were ready to start your order. That was remarkable. Tell us a little bit more about your buying experience with Escape. Was it different dealing directly with a manufacturer instead of a dealership? And what were some of the give and takes on that?
Yep. Well, so it was primarily me. So what I would do is actually I would find the layout, right? We were comparing a lot of different brands and a lot of different options, a lot of models, and there's a lot out there, right?
Yeah.
And once you say, I want this specific, right? I want a rig that's a fiberglass shell. That brings everything down, right? There's nice to haves, would like to, right?
Must have them, would like to haves.
Yeah. There we go.
Got it.
Yeah. There's nice to haves and must haves, and having that shell. This construction method was a no-brainer. This is a really must-have. And so Emma and I sat down and we said, if we could have our perfect rig, what would it include? And there was things like really good insulation, dual pane windows, everything that we got in here.
Yeah.
We'd like it to look a certain way.
Well, and a lot of the things are things that we already knew we liked from other RVs that we have had. So we knew from other experiences that we liked the acrylic windows, and we liked this kind of layout and floor plan and no slides, and we liked the fiberglass outside.
Right.
So there were a lot of things that Escape offered that we knew we already liked from other things that we didn't like other pieces of. So this is kind of putting all of the best pieces together.
So glad to
in one trailer.
And even things like the walk around the queen bed, but in the front.
Yeah.
That orientation really does matter for the way that we use the trailer.
Absolutely.
But when it came to like the logistics of like, how are you going to, communicate, how are we going to buy it, how are we going to do all this? We would sit down and say, if it works like this, it works like this, we can move forward. And so it actually was really, really easy. And I think that we started, I think it was through a web form, if I'm not mistaken. Then you shot me an email, and you said, this is about what we're looking for time-wise, which was actually shorter than we expected because. Okay. Well, I know that especially during 2020 to 2022, some of those timelines for most companies were just extraordinary,
right?
And we were pleasantly surprised, and we started talking about options, and it was really easy for us to build it.
Yeah,
I mean, it was really just one of those things. You go to the website, you start looking at things, it shows you the price and all that. Part of it, I think the hardest option though for us was really just picking a color.
Well, I think that's a few things, right? Like I think. When you go to buy another RV off of a lot, they are already sitting there. Everything's already been predetermined, so you can buy what's there. Most times, very few times you can order a rig off of a website or through a company, and it gets to you reasonably, right? But within that, you still only have a few options. So the fact that we could really, really customize our trailer
Yeah.
was really, really nice. So we were getting exactly what we wanted in terms of colors, in terms of like material. Like it was really is like what we wanted,
Right.
which is not something you get with a trailer off of a lot.
Well, I've never seen it.
Yeah. So you feel like you got a trailer that was truly built just for you.
Genuine. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And it wasn't even, it's extraordinary because it's not just like, hey, here's what we have to choose from. It's, here's where we would get our materials. You go to them or you source it yourself and we can still use it.
Right.
And I think there was a few options that like, if it was past a certain thickness, like, hey, just heads up, we can't use that. But like, that wasn't even on our radar.
Just a parameter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then after that, I mean, it was we figured out everything that we want, all these combinations. Until we placed the order, we just called you up, said this is what we want, and it was all right, cool.
Right on.
I'll send you. Yeah.
Can I ask you one more detail about the customization process? How did you feel dealing with Escape in terms of direct-to-customer manufacturer that we are? You already mentioned a few details about the importation process, the ownership certificate.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I'm amazed at how smoothly it went. I was expecting it to be, because we've never bought anything from Canada and brought it to the U.S. And so going through customs and all that.
Right.
I mean, getting a loan wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. You just chop around a little bit. You just call a couple credit unions. Typically for us, found the best rates.
Okay.
We secured that. And we said, hey, when's our pickup date? And as long as we had we told the credit union, hey, give them the money. Yeah. That was easy. And then it was when we came to pick it up, we did our walkthrough, we tested everything out. Yep. That was easy. It was very easy. And then a gal handed us a pack of paperwork. Right. And we just, hey, show this to the customs officers and show that.
Literally paper slips, hand them this whole paperclip bundle, hand it to the customs officer, and then they took it from there. And like, it was like so seamless. And they're like, okay, you're good to go.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And then it was in the rest of it was almost like a 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of thing.
Okay.
And, the last step is really just registering and paying government there too as well. And that was as easy as it could be, right? Because we already had the MSO, we already have everything we need. So
the administrative support was up to par?
That was great. I didn't have to call for anything. Oh. Not at all. Like that is saying something.
That is something. Yeah.
Well, and like everything was like, we had like, you were our touch point for sales, and then we had a touch point for design, and then we had a touch point for when we came to pick it up. And like, we had that we had different touch points at each step of the process, which was really nice. And like, we knew who to talk to, and we knew that there was a person who we could call if we had a question, and we got an answer promptly. So like, it was really nice that like, we knew the process, we knew there was a person to help us, and it was really smooth all the way through.
Nice.
But there's also people that are here at the factory, because your sales floor, let's say, it's genuinely like 20 feet from the factory. So if you don't have the answer, and you're not dealing with somebody like at a dealership who's had a limited training, has no idea what's coming from, an entirely other state, doesn't know the options. You're dealing directly with, there was one option. It was a solar configuration.
Okay.
That's not that wasn't even an option. I said, hey, that's not, can we do this? Let me find out. I mean, that was a great.
Right.
They walk back and they ask.
Yeah. And we had an answer within minutes.
Nice. That actually leads me to another question I'd like to ask you. Yeah. What are your favorite aspects of the trailer? And what has your experience been living in the trailer so far?
I think we're going to have different answers.
You go first.
Okay. Well, my favorite aspects, I like the layout a lot. Like the floor plan really just makes sense to me. The 23F2 floor plan.
It does.
With the walk around bed, like I like that. There's a spot we can have our dogs go that's still out of the way. Yeah. So we have 2 big dogs, so it's nice this spot they can go out of the way, but like they're not away from us, if that makes sense. Like they don't have to go to a corner necessarily. Like they're still
they've got their little beds
without us tripping over them.
Wow. Sounds perfect.
I really like the L-shaped couch dinette situation here. I like to be able to lounge and kick back. Just like the use of space is really good. The storage is phenomenal in here. Like every inch of space that they could put storage, they did.
We haven't filled it
yet. It was fantastic. We haven't even filled the whole thing up. Like I think everything, like just the attention to detail is so good for me in here. Like everything just feels like home. It feels nice. It feels functional. It feels like everything's like well utilized.
It's cozy.
The very thing you were looking for.
Exactly. What's your favorite part?
Okay. Well, mine's a little bit different. Let's start with these shades. And these are so the acrylic windows, dual pane acrylic windows is a huge deal. And so we live off grid, and it's a little different than how most people will use it. And so it needs to be energy efficient because we run off of solar. We don't have a generator.
Right.
And obviously if we have a tiny little propane furnace, and they usually don't like propane furnaces.
No.
This one's actually really efficient, even on power and propane. And we have an insulation package, right?
Yeah.
So it's holding all of it in there. We're not getting nearly as much condensation as we've had with any other rig.
You've had some cold nights in here already?
Certainly
Outside?
Yeah. Down to 14 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
And we were totally comfortable in here.
Yeah,
Nice.
just running that little furnace.
Nice.
So this is great. And also being able to, you can pop these up, turn them whichever way you like them.
Right.
Both for you. But the great thing is you can still have the privacy, but there's also reflective materials on here that you say
outside.
So it's more efficient. And the fiberglass is not as conductive by so just the measure of the construction of the trailer, right?
Yeah.
Just the construction of the trailer.
Yeah.
It's not only is it more efficient, but it's also like there's less points that I have to maintain. It just makes good sense. I don't have to worry about rust on the frame. From a maintenance perspective, it makes good sense. Right. I mean, the layout is wonderful. Everything has worked wonderfully. So to my surprise, when you own RVs, like things go wrong.
Yeah.
But no, we really haven't had nothing at all catastrophic. Nothing that is like, oh, I'm upset. I've not been upset. That's a crazy thing. And everybody who owns an RV gets upset at their rig, right? But
a quick sub question: how has it been actually traveling with the trailer? Have you had different weather, different terrains? Distances that you've gone, how's that working out?
So we've had toting good winds, maybe 40-mile-an-hour crosswinds.
Oh,
and so nothing like super crazy yet, but there is a bit of a curved, I should say, shape to this. It's pretty decently aerodynamic for what it is.
Yep.
I will say the tandem axle, it tows really well. The weight is really good and low.
Yeah.
I couldn't be.
I think one of the major, just that little extra mile that Escape goes is that they helped us set up the hitch, and they had it they asked us to measure our hitch, and then they had it ready to go for us so that it was set up, and so that it towed like a dream off the parking lot. It was really nice and easy. They helped us set up the hitch, get it hooked everything up properly, and then it was ready and it was at the right level and good to go.
Right on.
Which was really, really it makes it just that much easier to get on your way. You know what I mean? It just makes it feel that much smoother to go.
And that was a bit unique in your experience with other trailers.
Yeah.
Some of it just, hey, here's your gear, get up. It's genuinely, and if I may touch on one other point, I think, because it's somebody who maintains it's a mobile home for us. It's a moving home. And so everything in here it's going under an earthquake, and it doesn't matter what materials it's built out. It's all under an earthquake. Right. And you have to worry less about seams and things like that. But one thing that's, really crucial is obviously your propane lines, your water lines, and your electrical lines. And specifically what we see the most, and especially having gone in and upgraded our batteries, for example, done a deep dive on literally all of the electrical system. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a better laid out and better constructed electrical system. I mean, every fitting is perfect. The way it's all routed, it's all secured. It's properly secured. And we've had horror stories. It's just really bad. And we share a lot about that.
Good.
Its own purpose and care. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's easy to.
I'll pass along your endorsement to the engineering department.
Straight.
Delighted to hear.
10 out of 10.
But I think, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, I'm moving along to another thought. Yeah. Your experience with the Escape community thus far, do you feel a sense that you're in a community, and what's that like? I
think, yes, we are not community people, if that makes sense. We are not the people who necessarily seek out the rallies and the events and the things just by the way that our work schedules are and our lifestyle is.
Right.
But we do feel like there is people to reach out to, and I think that we can always reach back out to the factory, and you guys can connect us with people. I do feel like there is a web of Escape community that we can be part of, and we will join when we can.
Have you met any other Escape owners out in the road?
So it's funny, the first RV park spot that we stayed at, there was an Escape that was there in our exact spot before we got there, so we just missed them. Okay. We took their spot, so there was an Escape, and we had our eye on it for a little while. Didn't want to go meet them, but so we actually haven't met any Escapers, but we did have someone come look at our Escape to
Yeah.
potentially purchase their own Escape.
Right.
So we had them come, and it was set up through the Escape Factory, and they were able to come and visit us.
Yeah. You've
where
had more than one viewing?
We had a couple that wanted to and then never
Okay.
came.
Yeah.
But we did one for sure, and then they came, and they, we told them what we liked, what we didn't like. We let them walk around and take a look, and then they ordered.
Great.
Yeah.
And our community is heavily predicated on the ambassador network. We're delighted that you guys are our ambassadors.
Yeah.
And the product sold itself though.
Okay.
You look at it and you can feel that quality difference. It genuinely just a little knock test.
Yeah.
It's something that goes a long way.
Right.
And how much the wall does or does not, in this case, flex, right? And you can see it. You open a cabinet, you can see the materials. That's a big deal. Yeah. That's going to last versus you can have a whole panel pop out.
I think for those people, though, we started the community for them. Like, we started the network for them, right? Like, we were a good point of contact for them. And then, like, in the future, they're in the same area as us. Like, we told them, feel free to reach back out to us. You have our email. Like, feel free to reach out to us if you have any other questions or whatever. Like, we're happy to help if we can. And so I think, like, yes, there is an Escape community. And I think the way you have your ambassador program, so that you're starting to build a community before people even purchase their trailer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which feels great.
Absolutely. We're delighted and we're proud of our ambassadors. We're really glad that you guys are part of that. Looking forward to sending a lot more new customers their way.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a closing question I have is, do you have any advice for other prospective trailer customers and shoppers about Escape, your experiences there, a word to the wise, something like that?
Do you have anything?
But you go first.
I think that the first, if you're comparing this to anything else, I think I mentioned the tap test.
Yeah.
Knock on things, open things, close. Look at how many staples can you count in a given square footage, right? And how crucial are those to the longevity of the product?
Yeah.
The product, right?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. But also, if you can even do a test round of like, hey, I'm having a warranty problem with my ring. Can you actually get through to somebody, or do you have to go through a whole network of people? And how hard is it going to be when something invariably goes wrong? It could be a circuit board. It could be, things happen. But then also just sit in the unit. I think just sit if you can, right? And there's the whole network of sit in it and just pretend it's yours. Like, how are you going to live in it? Or even if it's just for the weekend, how are you going to live in it, in that space? Like, how is it going to be enough for your food? And for us, we got everything that we wanted because it was a custom trailer. Right. So if it's one of those things where it's like, hey, save up a little more, one things that are important to me, it's maybe even superficial to others, having the aluminum rims to match the aluminum frame. Like, it's just one less point that I have to worry about down the road. An electric tongue deck, kind of a nice, thing. Okay. The insulation package, I think that's a big thing. Right. And these are little things that you can add in and whatnot, or
the deeper sink.
Sink.
There are things that we talked about. Like, should we get it? Shouldn't we get it? Right? And you go through that whole process of like, what options do you want versus do you not want? And for us, and this is just our mindset, and the whole thing is like, if you think you're gonna want it, get it. Because it's harder to add it in later, especially like the deeper sink. And then like, we know we can wash our air fryer like tray into the sink. Like, it's a little bit deeper, it's a little bit bigger, and it's more aesthetically pleasing to us. And we were going back and forth on it. We went for it. We're glad we did. So I think like for us, like, we don't regret not getting the extra options. Yeah. We probably would have regretted not getting the extra options.
Right on. Would you say it's fair to say that our ambassador network way of exposing our trailers works well with the very detailed customizations that we do with trailers?
I think so. And I think like for us, like, we told the people that we showed our trailers, we were like, this is a standard option cushion that we chose, but the countertops that we chose, these are a custom choice. And so you pay a little extra, but you get exactly what you wanted. So exactly what we wanted. And so
because it's not even that much either. No, but people may not even realize that. They might just immediately cancel it on their head, or we chose not to have the solar panels installed. We want to do our own thing. Right. People may not even realize like that could be an option. And there are other folks out there, especially on the forums, and I've used the Escape forums even before, just trying to make sure like, hey, what did you guys order? What are you guys towing with? Things like that. That you don't know what you don't know. Just, hey, take a browse. Right.
Well, that, and I think my biggest piece of advice would just be ask the questions. Like, if you're not sure about something, just ask. Like, a lot of times it may not be an option right now, but if you ask, maybe it can be. Yep. Or, if you're not sure how something works, ask.
And do you think asking questions is easier with Escape than it is with dealership-based
Yes.
RV producers?
Yeah, because I think it goes back to that whole, like I was talking about how you have a touch point at each step of the way. Like,
Yes.
when you're buying from a dealership, you have a dealer that you're shopping with, but they don't know the products like you guys know the products when you're buying from the factory. And so, like, knowing that if I talk to you, you know what you're talking about.
Right.
I don't know that the sales guy at the dealership lot knows what he's talking about in that specific rig that I'm looking at.
And of course, right? Like, you guys are incentivized to sell. That's how businesses stand. But you're not incentivized to lie in order to sell. And that is something that we have ourselves experienced. They will lie in order to make a sale.
Wow.
In some instances, right? Like, not everybody, but the difference is that you guys, and it's a small group of you know, the folks that work here.
Yeah.
High level of integrity.
Well, it is integrity, but it's also you're responsible for the after, the after support.
Right.
And so if something's not, if you set the wrong expectation, you are also held responsible to it.
Right. I'm glad
That's a big
that
deal.
came to that's to your benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrap it up with that, and I'm going to say that thanks again, for being great Escape customers, for being our new ambassadors, and for answering your questions today. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for a wonderful product.
Thanks
Thanks for our home.